Hello, and welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast in which we analyze, scrutinize, and posthumously apologize the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
I'm Ralph Attanasia from Black Spire Outpost on Batu.
And I'm Asterios Kokkinos from The Loudest Podcast.
Welcome back, fellas. Thank you for coming back to finish out the week with us.
Hey guys, this is nice.
It is nice, right?
Yeah.
So we were just talking in the green room. It's a fun movie. We got some fun people. We're talking, chatting about stuff. Star Wars. Having a good time.
Good. Can't wait for the fun people to get here. Am I right?
Oh, snap.
Oh, that was rude.
You know what's interesting? It's like, so the whole point of Star Wars Minute, going back to the very beginning, was like every minute of the original Star Wars movie is so dense and something cool happens every minute. And it's like, and then we get to the prequels and that's not the case. But then in this movie, it's the case again. Like, each one of these minutes has something fun in it. Like, I love the little sequence we're going to talk about today.
Sure. Well, that sequence, let's talk about it. It's minute 90 of Solo, a Star Wars story.
Now, I thought for sure that this line came. Does he mention needles when he's in that car chase on Corellia earlier? Is that why I'm thinking that, or no?
No.
He references Corellia here, but I don't think he ever. This is the only time Needles comes up.
Right.
You think he was called Needles because he did drugs?
Or maybe he was made out of pine. Or maybe it was Hedgie from the...
Pete, did you...
into, like, stitchery.
Did you say where the minute starts and ends yet?
I'm about to. It's
Okay.
Minute 90
He would have
starts
if
with...
I didn't interrupt him.
That's right. Minute 90 starts with
and
Chewbacca.
now I'm the one interrupting you.
Well, that's darn rude.
Minute 90 starts
Please
with Chewbacca.
don't interrupt Peter.
Asterios, you're a good scene partner. You know that,
Yeah.
right?
Minute 90 starts with Chewbacca deploying the landing gear. And then it's with Beckett noting the coaxium moving into the red zone.
The red zone.
The red zone is for loading and unloading of passengers only.
Yes. So this is where we get the big Needles reference scene.
Yes.
You've
Now.
all been waiting for it.
Long
It's
last.
the scene you want to see.
I think that joke's really funny.
It is. It's a good joke.
And
That-
it's Adel Alkenstein. His delivery of it is just, it doesn't faze him what he just said at all.
Right.
I'm telling you guys, I bet in production order, these scenes were shot first. This is a very gag heavy sequence. There's like this, like they're like, it's like Lando Calrissian is pulling the brain out of his girlfriend, and he's still riffing on capes.
Yeah, you had the Hurdy the thumbs, and then Chewbacca did the headlights and made everybody feel stupid. You're like, you're 190, you look great, and then like it's all like pound needles.
Kira had that
Jokes.
before Chewbacca took over. Yeah, Kira was just, Han was like, oh, we have to, divert auxiliary power to the rear deflectors. She's like, yes, we definitely need to do that. That was,
That was great.
Wait, did we accidentally get good minutes?
I think so.
That's what I'm saying about this movie. It's like there's a lot of. It's like this movie. It amazes me that they've only made 2 of these like weird little not Star Wars movies for like all we talk about Star Wars and Disney and like the content fire hose. It was like, this is where they decided to fold on the good one.
I still take issue with the contention that this movie flopped, because it didn't.
Expectations were high.
Yeah, it just didn't make like insane blockbuster billions, but like it made its money back.
Right. Well, we don't know how much they spent on,
you do.
promotion and advertising and all that stuff.
And they had to pay
Usually-
2 directors. 3.
3 directors.
Right. Yeah.
No, the guy's name is Lorden Miller.
Which is another Star Wars name.
There you go. Yeah, I think, it's not, if there wasn't Disney Plus, there would have been more like this. But instead, they took this kind of thing to Disney Plus to do, all right, lower stakes, let's explore the characters that we want to over there.
I feel like Josh Trank, who was supposed to direct the Boba Fett movie, when there was all that madness with him directing Fant Four Stick,
right,
where he like trashed the house he was in and let dogs loose on set and all this crazy stuff, and then they were like, maybe the combination of Solo just did okay, and also this guy's supposed to direct Boba Fett. Maybe we just not make that movie.
Right.
That seemed like such a. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, and once again, Disney Plus being a viable.
Oh no, Asterios,
outlet.
it's okay. We interrupt Pete, not each other.
Yeah.
Of course. That seems like such a cop out that the Fox executives were like, oh, this guy's hotel room is a mess. Yeah, because every time I leave a hotel room, it's sparkling clean. The point of a hotel room is that it's one big napkin. You're dumping like salsa on the ground. You're peeing in the corner. It's a hotel room. You're having fun.
Well.
Well, just as a further update, according to the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, the budget for Solo was $275 million estimated.
Oh my God!
The worldwide gross was $392 million. I know typically they say a movie has to earn double its budget in order to. So doesn't sound like it did. It didn't.
You might be right there, Pete, about them not making back their. Wow.
But
although I feel like with any Star Wars movie, doesn't ultimately like it's still earning them money. So it's you know.
I mean, how much did they earn on licenses? Those don't get included in that. I don't think in that
card
that's just box office versus
stuff.
production. But they get money from Hasbro and all this other stuff. They get money from the makers of Han Solo card game, which I think was also Hasbro.
Han Solo card game is not fun to play.
You're a tough critic. You didn't like the Jarek? You don't like the Han Solo card game?
I'll tell you this. You ever play original Sabacc, like the way that so there were rules for Sabacc. Sabacc?
Yeah. Depending.
Star Poker. There were rules for it that like followed the like legends thing about how like the cards would change in your hand. So there were like times when you would roll dice to swap out your cards to simulate that.
The randomizer.
Yeah. And the game actually had an element of strategy to it along with that. And Han Solo card game is kind of just crappy blackjack.
Crapjack.
Yeah, it's not hard or fun.
And I'm both, especially when I talk about Star Wars.
That's some Han Solo right there.
Star Wars,
they say it's $275 million. Did you guys see that space war scene? It was clearly just like a very small studio they filled with smoke. $275 million to shoot that, like a scene where just like a bunch of guys are firing plastic rifles in one direction, and they're like, we'll paint in the background later. I don't know the name of that planet, but it's like
the war one.
What did they spend to?
You have to be more specific when you say space war, because that's a lot of these are Star Wars movies.
I suppose that's true.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot going on.
$275 million? What did they spend on that giant space slug that ran the orphanage? $8? On that space mantis that ran the orphanage?
Well, it was a puppet.
It was a puppet.
Between the smoke and the very dark lighting, it does see. I would think that this was a low budget movie that was trying to cover up the fact that it was not that they didn't have money to spend on stuff, but clearly not the case. So
you don't know how much of it was wasted on stuff that was shot and then had to be canned.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I'm sure they had to pay Lord and Taylor his fee for the entire thing, even though they wound up losing him.
If they wanted to, there's the whole, like, Ron Howard had to have directed the majority of the footage in order for him to be the director of note. So they had to go back. If there was stuff, they would have to go back and reshoot it or scrap it and whatever else. So
it's wild to me that we'll never know what happened on the set of that movie to make Lord and Miller leave it. But, supposedly they were too zany or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then they stopped making these Star Wars side movies until the one that Taika Waititi is directing.
Yes.
Who's
Notably
I mean,
zany.
I'm not disparaging Taika Waititi at all. I love his stuff, but like he's a wacko Goonie bird.
Right.
Well, he better not be directing any Kasdan scripts, or he's gonna be replaced by. I'm trying to think of who's a director that's the equivalent of Ron Howard.
Clint
Howard.
Joe Johnston.
Clint
Or
Howard.
he's gonna be replaced by Clint Howard.
Joe Johnston's a good one.
Joe Johnston
Kind of,
is a good one.
And he's in
Journeyman.
the, same thing. Yeah,
Journeyman.
he's in the DNA of Star Wars.
Yeah, Jurassic Park 3's own Joe Johnston.
Yeah, Captain America.
Captain America.
World Police.
Wasn't him the guy that directed the X-Men movies? Brian Singer.
Brian Singer. He's
I feel-
allowed to do
Singer
anything.
Well,
He's
look,
out now.
if he wasn't awful as a person, I feel like he's like a guy you could plug in, like a workman. Like it's like I'll get this done in time.
Yeah. So going back to the joke, the needles bit there.
Good joke.
I like you're right. I think the delivery of it. He was the best pilot on Corellia. Pause till he died. Pause. Doing this. That's really great. Like, because you can read that straight through as one line, and it's not as funny. But they really milk it very well. So,
I just like that the self-awareness of what he's saying keeps failing to creep in to his voice as he goes. Like that's what makes it funny to me.
yeah. So needles.
Yeah. Here's a question.
I'm listening.
What's the connection between, so we have Needles, his old friend Needles, Street Racer, and now we've got Flea in the Obi-Wan Kenobi Shobi. Is there a connection? Because Flea's character in the Back to the Future trilogy was called Needles.
Oh.
So is that...
I have the answer to that.
You have the answer to that, please.
I do.
Please, answer me this.
Kasdans included it as a tribute to Back to the Future 2.
Get out of
There
here.
you go.
No, it's true. So that the character is named after the character from Back to the Future 2. So good call, Pete.
There you go. Thank you.
I didn't know that was Flea in that, though. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think Needles crashed into a truck full of manure and died?
Could be.
Yeah. What are those things called again? Father years. Father year
Right,
manure.
Father Year Manure.
Father manure.
The Father Year Manure mysteries.
There apparently have been other needles in Star Wars because I was like, I wonder if needles are a thing in Star Wars. Like, and they are, it turns out.
Okay.
Well, yeah, on that floating black Darth Vader ball.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
He's got a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that might be technically a syringe.
What's the difference?
Well, a needle, like, a sewing needle isn't hollow, but like a syringe is hollow. So that might be, I don't know if that's technically a difference or not.
But I mean,
It's
colloquially, it's
to the layperson,
Right.
it's easy. But there are the needles or the rock spires in Shurden.
Sure.
And the needles, also the center of the Jundland Wastes, was referred to
right.
rock
Thread the needle.
structure.
You thread
called
the
the
needle when you
needles.
fly. You buzz your T-16 around the thing, and you have to come back.
Yeah.
And
in the expanded universe, there was a character named Ryler Durant, very close, similar to Rio Durant, whose nickname was Needles.
interesting.
So no references to drugs. We have to assume he's a sewing buff.
Sure.
I
My
like
friend
that we're
Needles, the
delicate
quilter.
about whether or not Needles is a drugs reference, but we're so okay with Han Solo just being a straight up drug smuggler.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the needles. That's a more hard drug compared to other drugs. So
So
we don't
Star
know what
Wars and Dune got spice as a drug,
Yeah.
right? Spice is the drug Han Solo deals.
love is the drug.
What does spice do in Star Wars? Does it just get you real high, or can you
Seems
also
to just
use it
get
to
you high.
navigate? Oh, okay, it just gets you real high.
Well, it depends on the type, apparently, too. There's different
What?
types. Like spice is like a catch-all term.
Because it seems like it's like an opioid because you could also make medicine out of it.
Right.
So you're telling me there's like indica and sativa spice and sporty spice, my favorite spice?
Baby
Yeah.
spice. Yes, all those sporties. Yeah.
Right.
I sometimes
glitter
like
stim.
if I have just a mild headache, I'll take a baby spice.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was trying to go for like a baby aspirin joke there. Let's just edit that completely.
I hear it's good for your heart.
Good.
I'm gonna leave it in.
Yeah.
As you get older,
take one baby spice every day.
take one baby spice a day.
Yeah. And then when you get really old, you got to take Old Spice. But
Of course.
Oh, there you go.
But until then,
You brought it back.
And he landed
another
it.
thing. Yeah.
before I started taking a baby aspirin a day, my blood was like marinara sauce.
I was
Needed to be thinned out. Yeah, Ralph. Yes.
I was sitting in the co-pilot seat of that joke, like Kira and like Alex just came in like Chewbacca and landed that for me. That's so much swearing in a row.
Yeah.
You got to put all R2 beeps on it now.
Have you guys been to Galaxy's Edge?
Oh my God! Yes, it was so great.
Where did you sit on the Falcon? Where did you get to go?
I ran the. I did the thing where you had to push the buttons. I sat in the back. I didn't get a good seat, but my fiance was
seat, if you ask me.
Drunk as hell. So she was drunk flying the Falcon.
Whoa, spice.
We lost. We did not get a high score at all because she was so screwed up. But I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. She doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't know where she. And you know why? It's because she drank so much blue and green milk because she couldn't decide which one she liked the taste of better.
You gotta get them both. You mix them. You get a Sebulba.
What?
That's what it's called. We determined that it's the equivalent of a space Arnold Palmer. We're like, who's a Star Wars athlete that we know of? And it's Sebulba, the pod racer.
Race car driver.
So if you mix a green and a blue milk at Galaxy's Edge, it's called a Sebulba. Ask for it by name. They will be confused.
Here for it.
I like that better than yellow milk. So yeah, I'll call it a Sebulba, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the last time I went, I was waiting in line with my friend Sean, who I apparently can't stop talking about.
You're obsessed with him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And we got on the line as the two of us, we're there, and we get the like driver front cool seat, and then behind us was this little kid and his mom, and he's like, I was really hoping that I'd get to drive. And we looked at each other and we looked at his mom and we're like, hey, listen, we don't even know how to fly this thing. We just got hired, so let the kid drive.
Nice.
And we made his day.
Awesome.
But also, we kind of look like a pair of mooks. So it was
guys who could get hired to drive.
Yeah.
Especially with those accents you put on, they completed the character. Listen.
We were kind of Disney bounding our Star Wars-ness,
Yes. Now I'll tell
just
you what
wearing the vest that you assumed I had.
I know you. And you have multiple. Now I'll tell you what I would have done. I would have turned to that kid and I would have been like, "Oh, you really want to fly, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna die a lot sooner than you. You can come back to Star Wars land. This might be my last time here. I'm ancient to you. I'm Chewbacca style old. This is my only shot. They'd have to pull me away from that joystick thing. Kicking and screaming.
You'd be like, my blood is like marinara.
My blood's like marinara sauce. I've had to graduate from baby to toddler aspirin.
Hey, you guys have any plans of going to that Galactic Star Cruiser $5,000 hotel?
Yeah, I feel like you guys could write that off, and I couldn't.
We probably could, but we just saw they had a big display of it at Star Wars Celebration, and like we went to walk in there, and they're like, no, you can't be here because we were in like the wrong spot. So we just decided that was a sign.
We came in through the outdoor, and they were yelling at us that we came in the wrong way. So,
even though there was nobody in there, we were like, oh, cool. And like, hey, look at this. And they're like, no, not here. So
I ripped up my check for $5,000 right in front of them. I'm like, oh well, I guess I'll have to be staying over there at the Holiday Inn Select instead. They were very disappointed.
The terrestrial land stayer. The windshield of the TIE fighter shatters. This seems, to me, I don't know. If it's flying around, and I guess it's just not meant to be hit by small things like that at a high speed. Like it doesn't encounter little particles or anything in space that would do that.
They don't expect them to come back.
I guess that's
they're brand new. Maybe they don't. This is like
Oh, right.
These are prototypes.
Right. It's like
first thing on their list.
They're essentially 180s. Not 180. They're essentially M80s that Star Destroyers throw at other ships.
Right.
That's a good metaphor.
Hopefully it's not a 180 because then it'll come right back and blow you up. And
Yeah,
So-
that's a much more dangerous firework.
Yeah.
So Han's plan at this point, he tells Chewie to put the landing gear down because he's going to
Mhm.
basically slide down onto the ground and then fly up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the...
Yeah, kind of slide on the belly of the ship a little bit or on the gear. And then
Is that to slow
hopefully
them
that'll-
down?
Yeah, it's like essentially they engage the parking brake when they engage the landing gear, and then it snaps off. And I think that's really smart because it's like obviously these ships have space brakes, but like if you used your space brakes and then the TIE fighter could also use its space brakes to like keep pace. But like your
pace?
space brakes plus breaking off your landing gear, I feel like you've earned the slowing down and having the bad guy overshoot you thing.
Yeah.
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 I agree with that. It's a neat little sort of it's nice that it kind of has a physical element to it. Like the landing gear have to, as opposed to just slide. Because I guess was that in The Force Awakens where we saw the Falcon kind of sliding like a sled, like a toboggan sort of
When it
And
lands on
right to the
Starkiller
edge of
base,
the
I
cliff.
think.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I had a toy of the Millennium Falcon, no cockroaches in it, but
Mm-hmm.
one thing that was unique about it was for some reason when I was putting it together, I assembled it in such a way where the landing gear could never retract up into the belly of the ship. The landing gear was always down on my Millennium Falcon, which is better than the opposite. It's better to never have it down because then you can't put the ramp down or anything. So anyway, I think they did this as a kind of tip of the hat to me and my own Millennium
your
Falcon
toys.
landing
That's
gear.
probably
So
true.
sorry, and I know people hate it when we talk about the toys. Sorry about that.
You should have gotten the one from my T-shirt. It's already assembled.
Oh, look at that.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I wish I had known. But yeah, this was back when the only option was the Kenner one. So
Hmm.
And then I like the thing they do with the gas because I'm thinking to myself like, all right, well the ship is stopped. I'm like, well it can't like take off, right? Like what the hell is this thing gonna do now? It's stuck on this rock, and then they blow up a bunch of gas underneath the ship, and then that gives it like the lift. And I'm saying to myself, because it's like a lot of times, like when you watch a space car trick, like especially in Star Wars. I mean, like especially in Star Trek. When someone's like evasive maneuvers and then the ship just moves like slightly and it's like, are you really evading anything? How the hell do you think you're going to evade a torpedo? You're a giant boat. Like, what? You're a duck?
Evade
like,
a torpedo. That would be a better name than Tobias Beckett. Evade a torpedo.
Oh, that's I couldn't. You are low in the mix, and I want to hear you better. Like
Low in the mix.
Low in the mix.
that's
Right.
another Star Wars name.
Yeah, but like in this, it's like what they did a thing and it visually made sense. Because again, like in Star Trek, it's like, we reversed the polarity, and it's like, how are you going to demonstrate that to my eye? I don't know, like a CGI lightning bolt, a bubble.
Some kind of monitor, some kind of screen indicator showing a bar moving. Oh my gosh, our tachyon particles are off the chart. That kind of thing.
It's like you can't even cut to Geordi LaForge's eyes like getting bigger and being like, wow, we're doing it. Because like his face can't emote. He got that thing on his face.
Yeah.
He should be like Tex Avery, where his things pop off his
goggles,
head,
yeah.
and his eye, like that.
Well, I mean, they sent him down to engineering to watch over everybody else. Like they needed a supervisor.
Hey, there you go.
And he's got one. But can you imagine if the moment he saw... No, I'm sorry, Peter. I'm going to have to ask you to cut this again. What's the name of the engineer that he fell in love with?
Barkley.
No, I wish. The lady engineer.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I know
this
her
came
name.
up previous. Oh, maybe it just came up on my Star Trek show. That would make more sense. But I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm just Googling. Oh, it's Dr. Leia Brahms. Okay. And bring
Leia
it back in.
Brahms.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Imagine if, because Alex, that was a brilliant observation. Imagine if the first time he sees Dr. Leia Brahms, the visor goes boing and like embeds itself in the hull of the ship, and Guidance like, hey, you got to stop falling in love in here.
Punctures a hole in the hull.
It should have like hologram projectors that big
Oh, there you
eyeballs pop out with hearts in the eyes. They should
All right.
totally do that.
Well, now that we're talking about the holodeck, I think we're done with
Yes.
the minute 90 of Star Wars, Solo, a Star Wars story, unless anybody had anything else. Do you guys have anything else about Solo in general? Anything we already talked about that you missed? Anything that you want us to keep an eye out for coming up?
Any thoughts on L3? You guys haven't really weighed in on L3 as a character.
She's dead.
The robot?
She's
Dead.
Yeah.
I think that robot's really funny, and I think it's like they're able to get a lot of comedy out of this robot, and also like make her death make you super sad, and use the robot to pay off like why they both love the ship and why they call the ship a she. Like I was like, this is it's a really smart piece of storytelling with that robot.
I mean, it's definitely economy of storytelling because you use the same thing. You use one thing that's already in the movie to accomplish another thing. I just feel like the second thing it accomplished wasn't a necessary thing. But I like the character. I think it's kind of gross how she gets treated at the end.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
It is weird.
Yeah.
That the character was good, their death, and then there's like, well, but and also like, well, is it just robot parts? Aren't we all? It's like being an organ donor. She would want her parts to be most logically, to go towards saving everybody and making.
I think the thing that bothers me about it is that it seems like her consciousness is in the ship.
You see,
right? Like her personality, because like 3PO talks about how the ship has the
Right.
strange dialect and all this other stuff, but she can no longer interact with anybody.
Right.
She's trapped inside of the Millennium Falcon.
I think it depends on how much you read into that. Like either it's purely like, oh, we just attached the database and we were able to access the navigational database, or yes, this is essentially her entire consciousness is now trapped in this spaceship. So
I think they should do an extended version of The Empire Strikes Back where they show 3PO talking to the ship, and then she's like, please kill me, deactivate me, anything. And he's like, doesn't even care because, 3PO is always sucking up to power. So he's just like, I'm just here to put in this new stuff and whatever, and so on. They should have done
your
that.
ship is weird.
Yeah.
That's my C-3PO impersonation.
TLDR.
Now,
I thought that was Golden Tony.
my take on this, like, it's interesting because like we see the same set of facts, but like draw different conclusions. Like, I think it's neat that her presence within the ship, like kind of the soul of the ship, like it. Now I understand why Han like cares about this ship more and wants this ship to be safe and okay, because it's like his friend is in there too. Like I thought it added a really neat layer.
Well, thanks you guys for joining us for a week here for reunite, bringing the team back together. See, this is what we're talking. This is what Han Solo and Chewbacca need. They need a Ralph and an Asterios to be the man, the guns. One could be ventral, one could be dorsal. You know what I'm saying? But thanks for coming back. The fans demanded it, and you delivered. And you want to one more time tell us where we can find you?
Did too many places. Don't look for me.
All right, nobody look for Ralph.
Don't look for him. He's not there
Especially
anymore.
not on your TV.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could watch all of Cake Boss and Buddy versus Duff and Hershey's Chocolate Meltdown and a bunch of other things on Discovery Plus. See a whole bunch of me over the years making cakes.
Making cakes.
And you can find me doing the Loudest podcast. We put out episodes every Wednesday. We had our 150th episode a couple of weeks ago, and I'd love it if you'd listen. It's me, it's my fiance, Sriracha, who's been on the show before, and every week we just have crazy adventures, both on and off the internet. You can find it at theloudestpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to The Loudest Podcast.
And in those same places, you will find more episodes of Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute!
Star Wars Minute!